Hello and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. Hope you're all having a great day. Today would be a great day to take a car ride and check out the fall colors. I know the trees are already changing here in Ontario. I'm guessing they're changing where you are unless you live somewhere south of the border. Well, even south of the border they would be changing, but what I meant by that is somewhere where you don't have any seasons. Okay, so today's story involves some college buddies out on a fishing trips. You're going to enjoy this one. Just a reminder, if you have a story you would like to share, then forward your encounter stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying these encounter stories, then hit that like button and subscribe. I should add to also hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all my uploads. Okay, I'm done yapping. So go grab yourself your favorite beverage and snack and sit back and relax. All right, so this story takes place in the fall of October of 1998, and it takes place in Oconee County, South Carolina. A couple of my college roommates and I decided to go trout fishing on the Thompson River in Oconee County, South Carolina. I grew up close to here and had fished the Whitewater River extensively, so I was pretty familiar with the area. I had also planned on making this trip a deer scouting excursion as well. We set off for the journey with the intention of not taking a vehicle even though the gravel road is open at this time of the year. We wanted to get a little exercise and make the most of the next 2 days of crisp, cool fall weather. We reached the river after about a 4-hour hike and were all anxious to start fishing. Our luck was great, and time slipped away into the dusky twilight before we knew it. We stumbled our way through the dense laurel thickets until we found a suitable camp spot. The spot wasn't well used, but had an established fire pit, so we were pretty happy. As one of my roommate and I started to put up the tent, the other started to cook the fish we had caught earlier in the day. The fish were just about done when we hear an almost childlike cry from the ridge above, about 200 yards away. My two buddies were instantly asking me what that sound was, with a childish fright in their voice. I grew up bear hunting in these mountains and have heard some pretty freaky noises. Most could be attributed to bobcats, coyotes, or the occasional mountain lion. I thought nothing of the sound and assured them that it was most likely a bobcat. We sat down to eat, and the sound would happen about every 2 minutes or so. It appeared to be moving slightly, but was hard to pinpoint because of the terrain and echoes, and then it just stopped. After dinner, we built a small fire and had a chew. As we were winding down for the night, we all hear something land in the camp spot with a thud. We looked around and decided it was probably an acorn falling. Then another thud. This time I saw the object, and it was smooth river stones from the river that was at least 100 yards away. This freaked me out, so I dug into my pack and fetched my 9mm. Upon my suggestion, we carefully scavenged the nearby woods for enough wood to make a decent-sized fire. The rocks would thud periodically, but were never bigger than a quarter-sized pebble. Once the fire was going, everything stopped. For a while. I also yelled out that I had a gun and to stop messing around if they could hear me. At this point, we figured it to be someone rather than something. We stayed up until 4 a.m., spotlighting anything that moved in the leaves nearby. We agreed to take double watch shifts. with 2 watching and 1 sleeping. About 4:30, we heard the crying noise again, and it was still in the same location as before. This lasted about 2 minutes and was followed by 3 very loud, distinct knocks. This sounded like green wood being pounded against a rock or a tree trunk. This would occur about every 10 minutes or so and would be preceded or followed by the crying sounds, which was in the opposite direction. We all stayed up until the sun came up and dismissed the whole incident as someone messing with us. We decided that since we were already here, we may as well fish our way back to the road. We were all a little rattled from the experience, especially them, because they were never more than 20 or so yards away from me all morning. As we came to the waterfall, or rough patches in the river, we walked back a couple of 100 yards or so into the woods to get out of the laurel thickets around the river. I used this opportunity to look for deer bear sign. In one spot, we noticed that the ground had been absolutely destroyed with animal sign. 3 or 4 large scat pals were concentrated around 2 large white oak trees. To me, it looked like bear sign somewhat, but I've never seen that much traffic sign in one area before. We walked back to the vehicle without incident and now tell the story from time to time. But I think we all know that it was definitely not a person making these sounds and throwing stones. I have not heard of anything occurring in this specific area, but if they are like me, they are too scared to come forth for fear of ridicule or having the occurrence discounted as something else. Growing up, I heard stories about the Long Creek Monster, which was said to roam the wilderness along where the Chattooga River flows. Okay, this was another fantastic story, and I want to thank you for sharing your story with us today. I have to say, it's all quite eerie, at least for me. If you're out in the woods, you shouldn't be hearing anything that sounds like a child crying, and then having something thrown at you, stones thrown at you. That would freak me right out, and I don't know if I would go fishing in that area again. That's just me, though. Anyways, if this story reminded you of an encounter that you had that you would like to share with us, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. Your stories can be as anonymous as you would like, and I'd love to hear from you soon. Like always, have a fantastic Sunday, and we'll see you all next week.